What's up YouTube? I want to make a video on how I cut my Yoshimura TRS exhaust. Basically the first thing that I did was I took a tape measure, a Sharpie and some Scotch tape, and I marked it out at 12 inches. It was originally about like 18 inches before. So yeah, I marked it, and then I took this grinder, and it's got like I didn't have a thinner blade, but I just used a thicker blade, and I made two cuts. First I cut this side, and then I cut this side, and then I cut it diagonally, and I just slid this off, and then I was left with just the packing and the baffle sticking out to the end cap like this. Basically after I cut it, it looked kind of like that. And then see, the trouble is though, is this baffle is welded to the end cap. So what I had to do is I had to, yeah, you see like that baffle is it's spot welded to the end cap. So I basically cut this down like this, down like this, and down like this. I cut it 4 ways, and then I just took a screwdriver, some tin snips, and these pliers, and basically just got all these little, you can kind of see the spot welds where the spot welds were on the inside of the cap. But yeah, so this is spot welded, so basically you just have to, it's really tedious, but you just got to work this baffle off there. So once you get that off, then I took, you know, like I said, I worked it off with some screwdriver, tin snips, and then after I was done, I went back with the file and got most of the welds off. I mean, you could use whatever you want. I also used some of these grinding stones on the drill here to get this all cleaned up. So basically, I mean, it is pretty simple. Like after you, I mean, I didn't cut all the way through it, you know, at first. What I did is I cut the carbon fiber off like this, you know, I cut it off like that, and then I took, I don't have a razor blade in my tools over here, but then I took a razor blade and cut away all the packing, and then I cut the baffle in the middle, and then like I said, then I just got this all cleaned up, and then I finally did I did cut it flush, but the baffle was the last thing I cut though. So, and I'll kind of show you how the packing goes. So you have your baffle, then you have this screen that goes over the baffle, and then you have basically, then you have this steel wool that goes around all that, and then you have then you kind of have this stringy, packing, a bunch of this, and then you have more of this, like, then around the outside of all that stringy packing, then you have this more, I think it's fiberglass, but this is like woven, whereas this is stringy. So yeah, that's pretty much the packing. And then basically how I cut this is, like I said, I cut this out, and then I had it really rough, and then I just took the grinder, and I didn't try to, like, you know, I didn't try and cut it perfect. I just rough cut it, and then I just took the grinder and ground it up to the edge, and that's how I got a really straight cut. Sorry, I'm gonna have to keep tapping to autofocus this, but yeah, so I have a pretty straight cut all the way around, and I had to take a razor blade and kind of cut some of the fibers off from the carbon. The carbon fiber kind of had some stringies on it, and then I took a file and cleaned this out. But yeah, so then after I did all that, after I cut, you could just cut it straight in half if you wanted to, that would be fine. But I didn't really know what I was getting into, so. And also, if you don't wanna have to deal with trying to get this all here, let me autofocus this. If you don't want to deal with you know, trying to get this all cleaned up, you can see I did a pretty good job. You know, you can kind of see where the spot welds were in a few spots, but I mean, if you don't want to deal with that, you could probably just cut the baffle in half right here somewhere and then weld it back, but this is the way I found it works best, and it is kind of a tapered fit, but you can see like it does just slide right on there, so it's not going to be too hard to get it back together. So basically where I'm at right now is I got it cut, I got this filed out, and I got my holes drilled. So basically what I did is I took my caliper, took my digital caliper, went out to, let's see, it's in fractions, millimeters. Yeah, I basically just set it at like 10 millimeters. It's going to be hard for me to get it perfect on camera, but yeah, so I just set it at 10 millimeters and just made a tape line, and that's where it seemed like the end cap is going to line up. So yeah, I tapped the end cap in there, and then I just eyeballed it, you know, across from here to here, but I did make a tape line to get them all straight, you know, get them all in line. But then as far as right here, I just eyeballed it. I didn't make a mark right there, I just eyeballed it. So, and basically I'm ready to tap this back on there, but I wanted to make a video before I tapped it all back together. So here, let me grab the rivets real quick. Let's see. Where the hell are those rivets? Okay. Yeah, so sorry about that. I should have had these already ready, but I don't really care. So there's the rivets I got from Napa. You can see they're my phone, this stupid iPhone, is not gonna want to autofocus. I'm gonna tap it again. Yeah, so these are 3/16 rivets. Looks like they're 3/16 diameter, and then they've got a 1/4 inch grip, and then I think the center pin is 1/8 inch diameter. So yeah, I mean, you can kind of see the rivets in there, but I mean, here, I'll just take them out right now. Yeah, okay, so I just got the rivets open, and I haven't really tested these to even see if they fit right, but yeah, they're supposed to be, yeah, 3/16. Okay, cool, so they do fit good. So yeah, I don't have a rivet gun right now. My boss is gonna bring the rivet gun in a couple days when he gets back, but yeah, so that's pretty sweet. I mean, you can see the rivets just fit in there pretty good, but yeah, I think I pretty much covered. I don't really want to make this video too long, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And what I wanted to cover was just how I got this end cap cleaned up, because like I said, the baffle is spot welded on there. So like I said, I basically just took tin snips, pliers, ripped it all off, and then I was left with the spot welds, and then I used a file, a rat tail file, a flat file, and then these grinding stones basically to get it all cleaned up. And now I'm ready to tap it back together and rivet it. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, like I showed you how I cut the carbon fiber, what the baffle looks like, what the Yoshi packing looks like. You got your screen, your steel wool material, your stringy material, and then your more woven stuff. So I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video off.